Hello everybody. In this video I'm gonna show you how to make the handle for the homemade hand engraving machine handpiece. What I've got here is a 1 1/4 inch diameter by a little over 1 1/4 inch in length 70-75 T6 aluminum rod. I just cut it off on the bandsaw. Now you want this as square as you can get it. So if you're cutting it off by hand, try to keep it square. If you've got a good cut-off saw, you're ahead of the game. But you might have to take it to a belt sander or stand there and file it until you get it fairly square. You know, try to get it as square as you possibly can. You can also check the squareness with your calipers. They make a pretty good square. And okay, when you're satisfied with your piece and you've got it squared up, and it could be slightly over 1.2 inches. 1.2 is the goal, but 1 1/4, good enough, close enough. So what we're going to do is take our combination square. We're going to set our handle in the combination square. We're going to start scribing lines. There's one line. I'm going to turn it 90 degrees and scribe another line. Okay, let's see, we can see that. That should be close to center, but in order to make sure I'm close to center, I'm going to split that line. And then I'm going to go around and I'm going to split it again. So now I've marked it 4 times. Now that's pretty well got center marked. I'm going to take it over here to a little firmer surface and I'm going to center punch it. Okay, I got it center punched. See if we can. And now I'm going to put it in the vise. Some of the things we're going to need for this is definitely a 1/2 20 tap. Now that's going to be the most costly thing you're going to have to buy. You'll need this, or you're going to, there are other ways of doing this, but right now we're going to do it like this. So this is a 1/2 20 bottom tap. It's pretty square up here on the edge, and I'm just going to use that because if you can only afford 1 tap, go ahead and get the bottom tap. Okay, and then you're going to need a 29/64 drill to open this hole up down to 0.7, 0.75, 3/4 of an inch deep, or slightly less, with a 29/64 drill before you tap it. So the nut we already have. The nut's just the nut. So let's get started here. We've got our handle in the vise, put it in the middle. We know it's good and squared up, or pretty close. Yeah, we're going to tighten it down. Now to find center, I can use my center punch. I'll stick it up here in the chuck. Doesn't have to be real tight, just up in there, and I'm going to bring it down until it goes into the center punch on my part. And I'm going to lock the quill. Okay, quill's locked. Table's locked. Table's locked. It's already been checked for square. Put a drill bit in it, put your square up there, make sure your table's good and square. Alright, now we've found the center. We've got it centered up with the center punch in the chuck. And now I'm going to clamp the vise down to the table. Clamp. Okay. Vise is clamped down to the table. Now we can release our quill. Pull our center out of it. Now she's right on center. Now you're going to want to, I have a good size center drill, but you could get away with doing a stubby drill like we've done before. But since I've got a nice center drill here, I'm going to use it. Take off my watch. I forgot to do that last video. Not a good thing to have anything loose, jewelry, rings, watches, or anything like that around your drill press. Alright, now we're going to center drill this thing. Close enough. Wish I could have got a little deeper. Maybe I will. I'll put my center drill out a little bit because I've reached, my table is set so that I can get that 29/64 drill underneath there. And I've kind of run out of room for my center drill. A little more off of it. There's a good center drill. Okay. On my 29/64, I want to go no deeper than 3/4 inch, 750, somewhere between 0.700 and 0.750. Is how deep I want this. So, take my tape and I'm going to mark this drill. Set my calipers to 7, maybe 715. I'll lock it down right there. Okay, I've got my tape set at 715, and now let's drill her out. That should get you close enough. Don't really even need to depth blanket, but you can. Alright, let's give this in a check. Tighten it down. Start drilling. drill out, packing them chips up underneath that. Tape. Almost there. Okay, I'm going to check it just to see. We're going to have a little bit of trouble getting it in there, but we can always take it out because now we've got a deep enough hole that we can stick it up on the drill and stick it back in here. But I think I can get a close reading here. And I do believe that's got it to the center of the hole, 774. So the edge should be, let's pull it out there. That's pretty close. Okay, get on the edge of the hole here. And I'm at 705. Perfect. Right where I want it. Okay, and it's not perfectly on center, but once again, it doesn't have to be. That's why I'm doing it like this. Now I want to stick this back in here, which is going to be a little more difficult since it's not exactly on center. You'll have to turn it until it drops in. There's center, or there's the center of the hole. And we'll tighten it back down. All right. Good and tight. Pull the drill out. Now, if you have a countersink, use it. I have a fairly large countersink here, so I'm just going to touch the edge of that hole to get a little bit of a countersink on it. Okay, let's touch it. A little countersink. Now what I want to do is I want to slow this drill press down as slow as I can get it. Okay, now drill press set slow. And I'm going to put my tap in it. Put the tap in it. I'm going to tighten it down. And I'm going to run my tap down and hold it fairly firm. You don't have to hang on it, but fairly firm in the hole. Got a little bit of pressure on the handle. I'm just going to hit the motor long enough for this thing to spin around and get started. And there it goes. Now I'm going to let go. I'm going to undo the chuck. And I'm going to take a 7mm wrench. A 5/16 will work. It's a little loose. This fits perfect on this particular tap. And I'm going to start running it down in there because it got a pretty good bite. With the drill press, and that ran it down in there maybe a 1/4 inch or so, and I stopped it, and the rest I'm going to do by hand. I mean, you could try to take the drill press a little farther, but I don't like pushing things. It got a good start, and I can do the rest with this little wrench is doing a fine job. Okay, now you're going to want to tap it to the bottom. Tap it till it stops. You might want to back it up every now and then and clear the chips out. Okay, now I can get in here. I'll use my air hose. Lightly blow them chips out of that hole. Okay. And you can use oil or tapping fluid. I like Tap Magic, that works pretty good, but I'm just doing it dry to show you. You don't need a lot of stuff to do this. We're doing it with sticks and rocks, the bare minimum. So keep tapping your hole out until it bottoms out. Getting close. I can feel it. Yep, there she bottomed out. Alright, hole's tapped. I'll get her tap out of the way. Take it out of the vise. And we got a nicely tapped hole all the way to the bottom. At least 7/10 of an inch. Alright, now I want to get this vise out of the way. I'm going to take my handle and the barrel with the nut on it, and I'm going to screw the handle onto it. If it's a little rough, there might be some chips still in the threads, and after you've screwed it on and off a couple of times, so when it bottoms out, tighten your jam nut against it. Now I'm actually going to put a wrench on it, make sure it's good and tight. That nut is a 3/4 inch nut. Okay, I'm just going to snug it down hand tight. Starting to look like a handpiece. Alright, I'm going to stick it in the chuck. Stick this up in the chuck. I'm going to tighten it down. I'm going to get a file. And I'm going to start shaping that handle. Now, as far as files go, you can get one of these. That's going to take it off a lot quicker. So, you work with this one for a while here. The table you can position to help you put it anywhere where you think it might help you work on this thing. I'm going to get it up close and see if that'll help me. Lock the table down here. See, it's not running true, but you're going to make it run true. And you're just going to keep working. Your handle over until you get it the shape you want. Okay. Now this is going to take a long time, so it's all going to depend on your patience. This is the worst part of the whole operation. Now if you get a power tool in there, more power to you. Figure something else out. You know, nothing's cut and dry here, but this and time and effort and a multitude of files, you can shape that handle. Now, if you'd have taken a little more time and been a little more precise than me, you might have got that handle closer to center, but I just want to show you that doesn't really matter. Once this cleans up, it's going to do the job. But this particular part of the job is going to take a while, unfortunately. But when you're done, I mean, it all depends how much time you spend shaping the handle. And you'll eventually get it where you want it. Like I said, it's going to take a while. I mean, you could use a grinder. You could take it over the grinder and rough it out there first. You could probably get an angle grinder, stick it in the chuck here, and run an angle grinder with the right abrasive on it so it doesn't load up with the aluminum. But unfortunately, I mean, right now, I could engrave with it. I mean, it's a handle, I can hold on to it, and I could engrave. Right there. Now, how fancy you want to make that handle depends on how much patience you got to sit here at the drill press with a file and do this. Then, once you get your handle shaped the way you want it, backed off the nut. I'm going to unscrew the thing here. You're going to want to set the 45 on here. Get your vise. Get it back down. Now, put this back in your vise. And if you don't have anything that's set to 45 degrees, you can kind of do it eyeballing it. You know, get it to where, man, that looks pretty good right there. Might not be 45, but it's on an angle. And once again, to get the vise on center, you can screw the handle onto the handpiece, put it in the chuck, lock your quill down, lock your table down, and now you're back on center again. Yeah. Clamp your vise down again. Undo the jaw on the vise. Let it come up. Pull your part back out of the chuck. And now it's at least on center. Now what I'll do is I'll take my punch, which will show me where center's at. And I'm going to throw this down in the vise, and I'm going to eyeball 45 degrees. And look at that. I can put it right about where I want it. And that's a good spot right there. That's about the corner of the workpiece. And I'll tighten it down right there. Rotate it just slightly. And that's where I want it. Okay, that's where I'm going to put my 45 degree hole for the clear tubing, the 1/4 inch clear tubing. And I'm going to drill this hole out at 0.240, or close to it, maybe 0.239. This is a 0.238. It's a bee drill. This bee drill, and the first thing I'm going to do is come in with a center drill, or a stubby if you don't, or stick another drill up in there, real choke up on it, make it a stubby. Center drill it. I need to crank the speed back up. Okay. Cranked up some. Center drill. Now I'm going to use the 238. 0.238 is a bee drill. You want something under at least 10 thousandths under 250. So 0.240, maybe a little less. This is 0.238. So that the smaller diameter hole, when you stuff that tubing up in there, the smaller hole diameter will just hold it in place. Now you got to watch when this breaks through, it can pull your drill, so keep a good tight grip on this, because when it breaks through into that the hole that we just tapped, sometimes it has a tendency to grab a hold of that drill bit and it'll pull it through to the other side and dig into the threads, and you don't want it to do that. Take time and keep a good firm grip on this thing, because it is going to want to pull when it starts breaking through. When we get to the point where we can feel it starting to break through, we'll really slow down on it. There, see? Yeah, I grabbed it good. I grabbed it. Put the brakes on it. Get a little more tight on here. Sneak up on it. There's the bottom of the hole. And we're through. Nice and easy. Alright, let's see what it looks like. It's not perfect, but it's not bad at all. That would work just fine. So now you got a hole at a 45-degree angle. So when you're holding it in your hand, your tubing's coming out the bottom. Let's go over to the bench. Let's assemble the hand piece with what we got here. And there's extra pistons that I made. Here's the piston that we made in the last video. Drop that in there. That nice little spring. Screw this thing together. Okay, how's that look? Got my hole on the bottom, and I want my locator on top. Pretty close. Now, I'm going to take my tubing, and I'm going to force it into that hole I just drilled. As you can see, it's staying in there pretty good. Turn the engraver on. Borrow a tip here. And it seems to be working. Yes, it is. I'm going to back it out one full turn. Lock my jam nut down. Got a little more oomph to it. Back it out one more turn. That engraver's not real sharp, but it's doing its thing. That's a deep cut right there. That's a pretty deep cut. What you can see, do one more cut. And there you have it. That's all I have for this video. So, I hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice day.